I recorded Rachel's presentation at the Tableau conference. I really liked it. She talked about bikes in Boston.
Tableau is really good at allowing you to answer what questions. What happened? What's going on here? Explain data makes it easier to answer why by surfacing interactive explanations of your data. Since you select the data you're interested in exploring further, Explain data gives you explanations that are relevant to the question on your mind. And rather than giving you answers, we surface data that allow you to get to answers faster, as well as to understand how you got there. Explain data makes it simple to come up with possible explanations with a click of a button, which makes it easier for anyone to engage in asking and answering questions with their data. Let's say I work at Boston Blue Bikes, which is the bike share program in Boston. Now, I'm going into a planning meeting for next year, and so I want to understand how we should allocate our budget. I pull up this viz where I'm looking at the distance that people traveled and what month they traveled in, and I noticed that it looked like people rode bikes a lot in August. I want to know, is this something that was particular to the last year, or is this something that we should plan for next year? Explain data to the rescue. I can click on any mark here, and here in the tooltip I see a light bulb. When I click on this light bulb, in the background we're going to model all of your data, all of the rows and all of the columns. We're going to look at dozens of models and pick out the most informative ones. And all of that happens in real time. And now check out this right side pane. What we're showing here is a list of explanations, and it's open all of the time so that you can continue exploring your data while you look at explanations. We have two categories of explanations. The first is telling you possible reasons why August is high. The second category of explanations helps you understand how August might be unique, but is unrelated to the measure value that you're looking at. Let's take a look. I'm going to click in here and I see a list of possible explanations. I can open up any of these, and now this is new. For viewers, I can take any of these explanations and I can also pop them out. So what this is showing me is it's telling me that the number of records is increasing the trip distance of the analyzed mark. What does that mean? That's telling me that in August, it wasn't the case that people just took a couple long rides. It was that people took a lot of rides. That makes sense. This isn't earth-shattering, but it's useful to be able to differentiate between a couple long rides and lots of smaller rides. Let's take a look at the other kind of explanation. Unique attributes. What makes August different? I see an explanation here about weather conditions. Now I'm going to pop this out, and what this is showing me is blue is my explained or my analyzed mark, and gray is all of the marks. So blue is August, and gray is the rest of the year. So what this is telling me is that in August, people rode bikes a lot when it was cloudy. Whereas in the rest of the year, people rode bikes when it was cloudy, but they rode them more when it was clear out. And this is where your own domain knowledge and your domain expertise fit in. I happen to be a domain expert at living in Boston. I live in Boston year-round, and I know that in the summer, in August, it's really hot and really humid. And the last thing I want to do on a hot, humid, sunny day is spend a lot of time on a bicycle. But if it's hot and cloudy, it's actually kind of pleasant to ride around. And so bringing my own domain knowledge here helps me interpret what I'm seeing. This makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't have guessed this, but people ride more in August when it's cloudy out. Now the super cool thing here is that weather conditions wasn't even on this viz. Now think of all of the steps you'd have to take as a viewer to get here. You'd have to go back and forth with an analyst to which fields you should be considering, which fields you want to include, and then as a viewer, I'd have to go ask somebody else to add these to my dashboard for me. Explain data did this automatically. Now, Explain data works on other kinds of data as well. Let's go to another viz about blue bikes. So now I'm looking at a map of the Boston area. These are different stations, and the circles and the color are telling me how long bikes were rented from different stations. Immediately I noticed that the Prudential Center looks really popular. Let's use explain data to help us understand why. I can click on this mark, and again, we're going to create all of these models in real time. We're going to come up with a list of possible explanations. So that's turning in the background. Again, all of your explanations are up anytime, so you can continue exploring your data as you look at your explanations. So it's telling me time rented is higher than other marks, which is what we saw. And I see that there's an explanation that there's one extreme value. Let's pop this out to take it. 482 rides that were taken from the Prudential Center has a really high value. And right here I can see this distribution of total time rented. And I see that there was one really long ride. 460 hours? That is more than 20 days. What happened here? Well, we include the record details so that you can easily see what happened for this one ride, and you can page through and compare it to other rides. Now in this case, the answer to what happened here is probably not in my data at all. The logical explanation is that somebody probably forgot to dock their bike. But we make it really easy to go through and see anything that you have in your data right here from this window, and this is available for viewers and authors alike. Now the next question I have is, okay, well clearly this is an outlier and I don't want to include it in my data. As a viewer, what do I do next? I could go ask somebody to take this record out for me, but Explain Data has actually done that for you. When you open Visualize the Difference, we show you what this viz would look like without this outlier. And we make it really easy to go back and forth and see what this viz looks like without the extreme value, with the extreme value, without the extreme value, and with the extreme value. And so without the extreme value, I can see that now the most popular stations are around MIT and Harvard and Boston University and the downtown commuter areas. That makes a lot of sense. Explain Data got here for me automatically with just a few clicks of a button. In fact, this is like giving everyone their own personal analyst, and it's available automatically within your existing workflow within Tableau. Now I just showed you the viewing experience. Explain Data also has added additional capabilities for authors to customize the experience for your dashboard viewers. So from within the authoring experience, I can go to the analysis menu here, I can go to Explain Data, and I can go to Settings.